Namaste, welcome along. We are going to be working towards splits today. I think I've got too much room above me. One moment. Yes, working towards splits. So if you have blocks handy, that might be good. It could also be good to have, if you've got any hamstring issues, then really it's probably not a good practice for you. However, there's quite a bit of technical jargon that I'll be throwing at you, but we'll be experiencing it and embodying it so that you'll be able to take a lot of understandings from it. Especially with the way the body works, so body mechanics, as well as how our best ways to stretch. Moving towards splits, and it's towards splits. It's not, you may or may not get to splits today. All right, so you can start on hands and knees. Welcome along. So on hands and knees, I'm actually going to turn this way so you can see better. And we'll just start to pulse with the breath. So inhaling to open through the front of the body. And with your exhale, press the earth away from you, doming through the upper back. And setting up a nice slow rhythm. Inhale, soft belly, it drops to the floor. And with your exhale, scoop the tail, chin into the chest. And one more round like that. So never in any hurry. And then this right leg, let's extend the right leg back. So inhale the right leg back. And as you exhale, nose to knee, knee to nose. Inhale, extending back. And exhaling. So this time, inhale, extend back, but bending the knee. And just pause for a moment. So flex the right foot and imagine that you have to hold the ceiling up with your right heel. So ceilings are very heavy, so get a strong activation there. As you're pressing up towards the ceiling, you feel your hamstring and glute work, and we want that. So a couple of rounds here, exhaling, coiling in. And inhale, knee stays bent, press the ceiling away from you. And one more like that. So we're going to build this. So inhale to lift. Exhale, go across to the left side. So you're crossing the legs over. And inhale, back to center. Exhale, coiling in. And a couple of times like that, really pressing the heel away from you. Imagine that pressing into the ceiling so that you get this activation through the hamstring. And last one like this. And then we're going to add on again. So crossing over. This time, your inhale will lift up, maybe even lift onto right fingertips, extend the leg out, and your exhale, touch the foot to the floor and rocking back into like an extended child's pose. Inhale, rock forward, lift the leg, bending the knee, back through center, and exhale, knee into the chest. So again, just this adding on ladder movement. Inhale to lift. Exhale over to the left side, crossing the knee behind. Inhale to lift. And then straightening the leg out and exhale, foot to the floor and rocking back. So this is why we need those slow movements or slow breaths so that we can fit all this movement in. And one more round like this. Inhale. Exhale, crossing behind. Inhale to lift, extend the leg out, and then exhaling down into this extended child's pose with the leg out to the side. And then walking the hands over to your right foot. And here you could have the right toes pointing upwards or down. So toes down is going to give you more of an adductor stretch, but the heel, the toes up is going to stretch more into the hamstrings. So then we're going to flow side to side. So inhaling and rising up into this easy gait or like an easy camel position, and then exhaling back to the foot. And it doesn't matter where you get to, you might just be up here. So inhale to lift and sweep, and exhaling through. And one last one of these, inhaling and exhale. Great. All right, coming forward, so returning back to your hands and knees, but have the knees together and hands wider than the mat. And just like an excited doggy, wag your tail side to side. So the hands are there for support and just allowing this arc through the hips, side to side, opening out. So as we've done the moves, it's a great opportunity for me to explain what we're doing on the left side, and come back to center. Inhale to open through the front of the body, and exhale to round. Inhaling, extending the left leg back behind you, and as you exhale, coil in. And one last one like that. So as we work the hamstring, we're also stretching the quad. So just come into this position and hold here. So flex the foot and actively press the left heel up towards the ceiling. So you should feel that your left glute is working and left hamstring is working. So remember that ceilings are heavy, you want to reach up. And then exhaling and coiling in. Inhale to press through the foot, engage through the glute and hamstring, and in that way you're actually stretching the quad. So this is reciprocal inhibition. It may not feel like much of a stretch at the moment, but when we do it in deeper poses, I promise it'll get there. So by engaging the hamstring, then the quad needs to release. So we cross over now and crossing behind over to the right side. Inhale up through center and exhaling, coiling in. So this is the way that muscles work. One muscle works on one side, and the other muscle on the other side has to release in order for to have that balance. Okay, so we add in the side kick here. Inhale up, extend the leg out, and then exhale, foot down and rocking back. You may be feeling it on the right glute as well, so that's strengthening. Inhaling back through center and exhale, coiling in, pardon. Inhale to lift and exhale, knee over to the right. Inhale back through center, off to the side, and then releasing back. And we do this one last time. So inhale to lift, and lifting through that leg, left leg, exhale, knee into the chest. Inhale up. Exhale it behind you to the right. Inhale back through center, off to the side, and then foot down and hips back. And then we stay here. So again, you've got the option of inner thigh versus toes pointing upwards. That's up to you. But walking over to that left foot, and then we flow side to side. So inhaling into your Parigasana gate position, and exhaling, sweeping back. And a couple of times like this. So the theory is that the more you work that reciprocal muscle, the deeper the stretch will be. So the more we work the hamstring, the deeper the stretch in the quad will be, and vice versa. So in a moment we'll get to working the quad, and that will deepen the hamstring stretch. So I hope you get that. So come back through hands and knees, and again, hands are wider than the mat, and allow yourself to sit right down side to side. So same tail, excited doggy wagging, but this time we've got a little bit more stretching. Hopefully it's releasing the hips a little from that intense holding. All right, so coming back through center, downward dog will feel like a dream right now. So pressing back and into your downward facing, and just know that we'll get there. So you can do the little heel press if you'd like to. We're going to be finishing the practice with nice long hamstrings, but having that done in a very safe and connected way. So you won't feel like you've been drawn and quartered, but rather staying integrated and whole. So you can inhale the right leg to the sky. And like we did, exhale, tiger curl. Inhale, stay in your plank position, lift the right foot up like you're trying to touch the crown of the head, and then exhale and coil in. And one more like that, so stay in your plank position. And then exhaling, step the foot to the hands. You can keep the back leg straight and inhale to sweep the arms up. As you exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back of the body and just pausing here. So rather than pushing that left heel away, feel like you're drawing it up. Draw that the left heel up into the pelvis as you lift through the chest. And already you might feel more of a stretch rather than a sinking down into the sitting in the joints will. Yes, it will create a stretch, but at the expense of the joints. So we're looking to maintain joint integrity even as we stretch. Take one last breath here, inhaling. And exhale, releasing the hands down. Stretch yourself back into downward facing dog. And then coming forward, plank pose. Lowering yourself down. Rise up into Shalabhasana, so lift head, chest, and legs. And again, bend the knees, not all the way like we had them, but bend them a little. I'm just going to go on to elbows. So lifting the thighs up off the floor, and again, imagine that there's, you're holding the ceiling up with the heels so that you're lifting against resistance. And that's going to engage the hamstrings and glutes even more. Okay, then releasing down, rise up through your full or half push-up and back into downward facing dog. So you can do a little twist here. Heels side to side. Nod the head yes. Already starting to feel the difference in the body. So you can inhale the left leg to the sky and exhale, come forward, knee into the chest. Stay in your plank position. Inhale to open and exhale to coil in. And last one, inhale and step the foot forward. Rising up into your crescent position. Take the arms overhead. Interlace the fingers behind the back of the body, and then again, just rather than pushing through that back heel, draw that back heel in like a straw. You're drinking the energy up and into the pelvis. So we are going to be stretching our body, yes, but without not at the expense of the joints. And as we move towards deeper stretching, it's important that you focus the stretch, you want to feel it in the belly of the hamstring, not so much the back of the knee and not at the up at the sit bone, definitely not up at the sit bone. Okay, one last breath here. And exhaling the hands down. And then from here, stepping back. Inhale forward into your plank. Exhale to lower. Rise up into your Shalabhasana again with the knees bent. So I say it's not going to make the cover of Yoga Journal, but it's fabulous for really engaging and strengthening the hamstrings. And if you're feeling any cramping, it might mean that you need some magnesium. So you can release down, rise up through your plank and back to downward facing. Take an inhale and stretch your right leg to the skies, this time staying in down dog and squaring the hips around, lift the head. Imagine trying to touch the sole of the foot to the top of the head. You're close, about as close as me. Exhaling and come forward, tiger curl. Inhale to stretch up and back, bending the knee, lift the head, and then step the foot forward. Okay, so this, you can stay down. You might like to have your block handy. So we'll inhale, come forward into like a Vira 3, and then exhale and tap the knee to the back of the right calf. Inhale, stretching the left leg back, and exhaling to lower. We'll do this a couple more times, so building heat so that the flexibility comes more easily as well. Inhale to step forward. Exhale, tap the knee to the back of the calf. Inhale back into your Vira 3 and exhale, stepping back. And one last time like this, inhaling. Exhale to tap. Inhale, stretching back and exhaling to step it back. Plant the hands and stretching the right leg up and back, opening the pelvis out. So as you open the pelvis, make sure that you're not dumping into the left armpit. Keep that lifted. And then square the hips. So we've still got our right foot forward. Helicopter seems to be gone. Okay, so focus on that back thigh, again, drawing in, but we'll also do the front leg. So inhale and lifting, like lifting through both, connecting up to the core, and exhaling and melting into your crescent pose. Inhaling to lift. If you're able to, lift the right toes as well, and exhaling down. And one last time, inhaling and lifting. And exhaling to lower. Touch the hands down and straightening up through that right leg now, squaring the hips and lengthening the chest forward. So into our first real hamstring stretch, but just get a sense of working the quadriceps. So if you're able to, maybe drawing the toes back towards you to help to get that feeling of drawing up. The more you work the quadricep, the deeper the stretch in the hamstring will be. So we've been doing it in the other side, and hopefully you can feel that the quad is more open because we've been working the hamstring more deliberately. Just give it 2 more breaths here. And splits they require quadricep as well as hamstring opening. And they are these synergistic muscles or opposing muscles, sorry. So coming forward and step yourself back. Feel free to rest in child's pose or take a connecting vinyasa. And And then melt the knees down to the floor, and already just scanning through the body. You can take child's pose, but scanning through the body and feeling the difference there. Through the left side, the right side. So we've done a flow on one side, but not the other. And hopefully you can really feel, just by this awareness of extending yourself on one side by a bit of hustle on the other side, and that there is this beautiful balance that happens within the body. All right, so let's take the same flow on the second side, stretching back through downward facing dog. So staying in your downward facing dog and lifting the left leg up, keeping the hips square, and lift the head as well. So you're thinking about crown of the head and sole of the foot touching. Some of you might be able to do it. Go for it. And then exhale, plank pose, rounding through the back, knee into the chest. Inhale, so you're working that hamstring to come back into that downward facing, and then stepping the foot forward to the hands. So keeping the hands down, again, we're building heat here. Launch into your Vira 3, inhale here. As you exhale, touch the knee to the left calf, and this time dropping, being aware of that right hip dropping down. Inhale back and keeping the hips square, and exhale. So it's a 2-breath cycle, and we repeat it 3 times. Inhale, exhale, bending both knees and tapping. Inhale, straighten both legs, and exhaling, landing back. And one last time. Inhale, exhale to tap. Inhale, so building the heat is also going to help our flexibility. Think of stretching in the middle of summer versus the middle of winter. So inhale back, heel to the buttock and opening out. And we're just stretching out through the quad without dumping into the right armpit. Keep the right armpit lifted. And chest square, but you're opening the pelvis to the side. Great. All right, square the hips, step forward. And then rising up into your crescent position. So focusing on the back leg, drawing up, but also now the front leg. So drawing up, lifting up, at least to the center, to your navel, and then exhaling down. And twice more like that. If you can, maybe drawing the left toes back here, and exhale. Feel that activation, enlivening the possibility of extending yourself. Great. All right, fold in, straighten through the front leg. And again, you might have this, it might be easier to get this sense of activating. So that's why in Iyengar they say, lift your kneecaps so that there's this activation through the quads so that the hamstrings can stretch. I'm not a fan of that cue. But that's the mechanics behind it. Good to understand. Check you're not rounding through the back. Keep a length through the spine. And one last breath here. Melting in, greeting your hamstrings. And releasing down. Step it back. Feel free to move through a connecting vinyasa. If you come to chaturanga, do a little slide back. So as you rise into up dog, the shoulders are over the wrists. And back to downward facing. Again, melting the knees to the floor, just pausing for a moment. So good if you can sit back onto the heels and feeling the difference through the body. So reciprocal inhibition, working one muscle, the opposing muscle, in order to more actively stretch the other opposing muscle. So let's again come to hands and knees, inhaling and reaching the right leg up again like you're holding the ceiling up. Exhale to drop the knee behind and feel how that right hip drops down as well. Now focus on the right hip staying low as you come back to center, and then knee into the chest and stepping the foot forward. So we'll flow back and forth a little here, inhaling and sweeping the arms up, and exhaling to rock back. And again, inhale. And exhaling. Okay, so things are about to get interesting. So as you rock back, just pause for a moment without it being a deep forward fold. Just be quite high on the fingertips, and then lift your right heel up off the floor and feel the work that needs to happen in the quadricep to make that a reality. And then let's come forward, inhaling and lifting. And exhaling to rock back. And just one more time, work the quadricep. So that's going to be the feeling just for a moment, and then touch it back down. Okay, so then let's come forward, bring both hands to the inside of the foot, inside of the right foot. And as you hold here, you can stay high or be on the elbows, but just get a sense, bend the left knee, heel to the buttock, and then get a sense that you're trying to lift that left knee up off the floor. So you're working your glutes and hamstrings that much that the quad is opening, that you're trying to lift the knee up. If you can, if you're a full Jedi, go for it. Don't let me hold you back. But as you reach back to catch hold of the foot, often our hands do all the work and bring the heel in. Don't let it. So in fact, you want all the work to still happen in the legs. So the heel actively being drawn in more from the foot than the hand. I hope you get that. Good. All right, release. Step back to hands and knees, and then let's stretch out into downward dog for a moment. If you'd like to, you can take a connecting vinyasa again before we take the second side. Maybe lingering in the back bend for a moment. I'm just going to bask in the sun. And pressing back to downward facing. And moving to the second side, so dropping the knees to the earth and lifting the left knee, again holding the ceiling up. And exhale, crossing behind, just so you get a sense of squaring that hip around. Come back through center, hips stay square, and step the foot through to the hands. So we'll flow back and forth a few times, inhaling. And exhaling to rock back. So again, as we move towards hamstring stretches, you don't, more deliberate hamstring stretches, you want to make sure that you feel the stretch in the belly of the muscle and not so much in the back of the knee or the sit bones. So rock back, pause for a moment and lift the heel up and then touch it down. Inhaling, coming forward. Just a couple of times. We're looking to awaken that quad as you lift the foot up. All right, so then hold for a moment in this hamstring stretch, folding yourself forward. Maybe walking the hands forward. And so it can be helpful to have a little bend in that left knee so that you're feeling the stretch more in the belly of the muscle. And 2 more breaths here. And And then coming forward, both hands to the inside of the foot. So remember, before we just go and grab with our hands, engaging the glutes and hamstring by bringing the heel in. And you're bringing it in so actively that it's like you're trying to lift the knee up off the floor, pressing the ceiling away, and feel as you engage, hopefully without too much cramping. If you're cramping up, then dial it back, but and get some magnesium. But as you engage the muscle, you should feel a corresponding stretch in the front of the quad. So then reaching back, and as soon as the hand catches the foot, often we check out, but instead stay active through the leg. And rather than the leg being passive and the hand doing all the work, your leg is still very active. Separate the teeth, create more space there. And 2 more breaths here. A yoga teacher once said that it's one of the greatest community services that yoga teachers can do is to stretch out people's quads, as in people hold a lot of stress and tightness and tension there. So hopefully you can feel all of that unraveling happening, but in a very safe and connected way. So back to your downward dog, either child's pose or again coming through another connecting vinyasa. The little slide back of the toes helps to have your upward dog alignment. So back into downward facing. Let's walk the hands back to the feet. And we'll come into a standing splits variation, and standing splits is going to make it very active. So reach your right leg up, and same movement, bend the knee, heel to the buttock, but then pressing, actively pressing the right heel away. So now you're pushing the wall away from you. Then thinking of the left leg staying active, and that the quadricep is working as you reach up and catch hold. But remember, the hand wants to almost be a bully, but make the legs continue to work, continue into that opening. Yes, and ideally there should be the hip should be square here. So right hamstring is working, right quad is opening, and reverse on the other side. So you can release it down and maybe march the legs out a little. Let's take a spinal roll and come on up to stand. See how that community service is going. Feel that beautiful opening. But like I said, it's not that you've just been overstretched. It's done in a way that you still feel safe and contained. So extending yourself, but with a sense of integration and wholeness. All right, inhale and take the arms up. We'll switch to the other side. So folding forward and reaching the left leg up. So don't be in a hurry to catch hold. Flex the left foot, press the left heel away, and so that you're working the hamstring, and then catching hold. And so the hand is just going to accentuate the movement. It's not going to overtake it. So your left leg is still very active as you fold in. And then releasing smoothly, slowly. You can walk it back out into downward facing dog. Take that twisting movement again, like the excited doggy wagging their tail. And for the grand finale, let us move towards our splits. So reach the right leg up, bend the knee, heel to the buttock, but lift the head also and go for that same feeling of activation there. And then stepping the foot forward, drop the back knee down, and just for a moment, lift the heel, lift that right heel and working the quadricep to do that. Then you can move towards your splits, but rather than just going into like a pancake variation, just full splush if you like, have that same feeling of drawing in. So you see here in my right knee, I've got a little bit of a bend, and in that way, I'm feeling the stretch more in the belly of the muscle, not at the back of the knee and not up at the sit bone. And that's, if you're feeling the pain or stretch here at the side of the joints, then you're overstretching the ligaments and tendons, and we don't want that. So if you're down in your splits, you could stretch the arms up overhead. Have with the back leg, I like to have the back toes tucked so that if I wanted to, I could even lift that knee up off the floor and get a sense of working the quadriceps and, dyslexic moment, working the hamstrings so that the quads open a little more. Happy days. Are you having fun yet? Are you glad you got up this morning so that you could do splits? What a delight. All right, so coming back, just go to hands and knees, and again with the hands wide, whether it's the deeper twist, but just let it be like wiping the slate clean. And yay, second side. So we've often got a side that we favor, a side that we are more comfortable on. And this can create even a twist in the pelvis. So if one hamstring's tighter, other quad is generally tighter. So the opposite quad is tighter. So there's they are completely, this splits is a double whammy. So take the left leg up, heel to the buttock and squaring the hips around and lifting the head. And exhale the knee into the chest, step the foot forward and rocking back. So we've got our left leg forward. Lift the heel up, get a sense reminding of that, how that quad feels to ignite, and then stretching both forward and back. Again, I like to keep the back toes tucked. That can also help to steer the right hip around. All right, so again, a slight bend in the front knee can help to look after the joints. So often in the body, it's the joints that we feel the injuries, we have injuries in. I liken it to the roads, you know, roads that have the potholes, they're usually in the joins of where they've added a bit of new road to old road. So the wear and tear happens in the joints. So we want to look after the joints and feel the stretch within the muscles themselves. Have that same feeling of, rather than actively pressing the left heel away, hug it in a little and draw that right hip around further so that you're not just sagging into the pose, but you're quite active here. All right, so coming out of that, you might like to drop over to the left side and swing the right leg around, and come into, so after such a massive expansion pose, I like to take cosmic egg, just to know that everything's going to be okay. So the pose here is to actually rest the head down onto the knees. But that's going to depend on your femur length. And I'm just balancing on the sit bones. So just finding that still point, finding from the expansion, from extending yourself deeply and fully, coming back into a place of safety, a place of ease and comfort, so comfortable. So mission accomplished. You can touch the feet down and move the hips forward, coming down onto your back. So you may like to take a spinal twist, shuffling the hips over to the right side and knees to the left. And when you're ready, over to the other side. And then just stretch your beautiful legs out, stretching out into Shavasana here. Wow. Oh my. I truly hope that your legs feel as amazing as mine. A wonderful experience of opening. But an opening that's been done in a very kind way. Kind, safe, and even nourishing. As you extend yourself beyond your previous boundaries, feel that you have more to give, that you have more to share. How wonderful. How beautiful. I shall leave you basking in this experience of this expanded sense of self and bid you farewell, namaste, and see you again soon.